Suppose I should bring myself in. Welcome to another episode of the Holo Chronicles podcast. I'm flying solo tonight. My buddy Josh is off doing excellent fatherly things with his family for the next couple weeks. So I thought I would take this opportunity and maybe hop on with a friend of mine. Josh and I had the pleasure of, we've been following Silver for at least a couple years, probably longer now. And we had the chance to meet her at Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim, met her and her husband, Steve. And not only is she a fun follow, an awesome collector who's got some great stories, but she's a good person too. You may recognize her from our show. The last time she was with us, she was winning the Star Wars Bounty Hunter game show that we've put on a few times. She's our most recent winner. It's been a while now, but I know she carries that prestige along with her wherever she goes as a Bounty Hunters winner. I'd like to welcome all of those of you who are joining us live in the chat. It's good to see you guys. Please put questions down for Silver as we go, because she's going to talk about what she's been up to lately. And I know that's going to generate some conversation among you guys and gals. And also, thanks to those who are catching up on the rewind. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our buddy, our pal, Silver.
Hi, everyone.
Yay, Silver. So,
Hi.
Silver,
what up?
You are, would I be correct in classifying you as a prequel collector primarily?
Yes. But actually, no, yes. I don't know why we're I'm trying to come up with a cooler answer, but yes, I'm primarily a prequel collector. And I do want to bring up the last time we were on, I played that game on your guys' show. There was this ridiculous thing that was on the surface because we were bounty hunting online, and then somehow we went down the rabbit hole of Etsy, and this pillow, I bought this on Etsy because we discovered this sexy Watto pillow.
Oh my gosh.
So I will always be grateful to you guys for inviting me on the game. And then us finding this Watto pillow on the internet. And it's the best thing I've ever had. It's like it's a body pillow. So
that is amazing. Happy. Silver, I had totally forgotten about that. That is, oh my gosh. I can't tell you how happy that makes me to see that.
Yeah, it's the greatest. I blame you guys for, again, inviting me on, and it's probably like one of my favorite purchases ever.
Oh my gosh, that is so good! And you actually spent a few dollars and got that. Not only did you hunt it, but you captured it.
Great purchase. Yes,
that was so good. I imagine that's quite a conversation starter when the guests are over. Or does it just get lost in everything?
It does. I think when when my friends and family come over, they take it all in. This is just a small part of what I have, so they get in and they're just like, all right, well, we don't get it, but good for you. So, but yeah, for sure.
That's great. So for those of you that don't know Silver, you should. Your Instagram and Twitter is such a fun follow because you're out there thrifting, as you would say. You're out hunting for Star Wars deals on things that everybody's seen, things that very few people have seen. You're just a fun follow because darn near every weekend you're out there hitting thrift stores, parking lot sales. Do you have a regular circle of, this weekend, the first weekend of the month is here, the second weekend of the month is here? Do you have a rotation that you regularly hit?
I do. So I'm really fortunate enough to be living in a big city. I live in San Jose, over here in the Bay Area, about 40 minutes away from San Francisco, but we are completely surrounded by so much antique stores, flea markets, especially the flea markets. So in San Jose alone, we have one of the biggest flea markets, which is the San Jose Flea Market.
Mhm.
That's every weekend. We also have Capital Flea Market, which is also every weekend. But we have a really fantastic flea market called it's the Deanza College, which is a, like local college in Cupertino. That's the first Saturday of every month, and that is an absolute go-to because you have actually a lot of vendors from just kind of all over like the North Bay who actually travel to this flea market. It's a pretty big deal. So that's always like an event. So I always save like my first Saturday for that. The third Saturday, there's a smaller high school swap meet. So I'll go that before I hit like Capital Flea Market and San Jose Flea Market. So I kind of have like do have my my I map things out. I was introduced to this garage sale app which recently, and that was really fun. I think one Saturday I hit up probably like 20 garage sales in one day.
Oh my goodness.
Because it tells you like they link it in of like who's having garage sales in that area. I didn't find anything Star Wars that day, so that was fun. But still it was kind of cool to kind of check it out. But yeah, I genuinely like do have like my thing mapped. I never sleep in on the weekends because the weekends I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. I get my coffee. It's still dark outside, and I'm heading to the flea market because I'm one of the first people like in line as the vendors unload their trucks. So as they unload their trucks, I'm getting in there first, kind of like digging.
So do they all know who you are by now?
Yeah, they do. They do. It's kind of cool that I'll have some vendors who put stuff like aside for me. So when I get there, they'll be like, "Hey, check out this box I, put aside for you. You'll probably like it." It's usually like, they have like their Star Wars stuff. They'll set it aside for me. Um, so yeah, it's pretty funny, but I mean, I've been doing it for 2 years, actually almost 3 years now. I've been heading up these flea markets every weekend. It's fun. Honestly, it is. I mean,
Well,
again, I don't sleep in. I just get up and go. And it's really exciting.
so then you don't buy any modern, do you?
No, I do. I do. If there's something really like I need to have, I'll get like I really like the Black Series helmets.
Okay.
So I'll pick those up. But I mean, by the time I go to my weekend's over, I have like a complete like big haul of things. I'm just like, I don't really kind of go and buy modern, but I do enjoy a few things. Like if like especially like a lot like there's like if a Black Series figure comes out, if it's like a character that I really enjoyed from like the shows, I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't complete like the lot or everything that they release.
Right,
like,
because you can go into Target for other things too and just happen to go by the toy aisle.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no harm in that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You you have gotten like you've got a really cool collection, and I know a lot of it. Is it in your garage? Is that where you keep most of it?
It's in my garage. My husband was cool enough to just let me have the garage. So all we had to get like a whole shed for like our normal garage stuff. So I have free reign on the garage, and I have a pretty spacious garage too. So it started off like a little corner, and then it just like completely expanded.
That's
and
how it always starts.
Yeah, it's actually just such a joy every time I walk in there because I'm just like, man, it's just like my whole like journey of doing this. I feel like I can look at almost everything in that collection and I remember where I got it. I remember getting it at that thrift store that one time, or I remember it picking it up from Craigslist. Like I almost like it's like my story of collecting, and it's so cool. Because I just have like just such a personal, connection to it because of how I picked it up. It was something that,
Yeah,
there's
the
a
story
story.
behind it.
There's a story
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah.
So
The most recent, well, okay, let me go back. So does your collection bleed into other rooms of the house, or is it contained?
it's throughout my house.
Okay. So
It's so a lot of my thrift stuff is probably like in the garage.
okay.
I love collecting art prints. Like I love going to Celebration and like picking up like like the prints and stuff.
Yes.
So that's throughout my house. My kitchen has one of my favorite artists is Danny Haas, and he does all
Yeah.
these like incredible like art pieces. I have like all his work probably like in my kitchen.
Okay.
Myself.
I have one of his that I picked up at Celebration.
Yeah.
And we bought a poster darn near at the same time when
Oh
we
yeah,
were there.
that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. I like that we share that we have
Yeah, poster
an
buddies.
affection posters. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But those take up wall space.
They do. You got to get really. So my garage is really cool because it has like like a high ceiling. Almost if you walk in there, it kind of looks like a barn type thing. So I'm starting to put posters up the ceiling. It's starting to make its way up there. My living room, I have like a lot of like the theatrical posters because that's where it is kind of, or sometimes I'll just rotate. Like I'll take something down and like
okay.
put it back in the tube and like spruce it up a little bit.
Yeah. Keep it fresh.
Yeah. Yep.
So how much would you say do you keep from your thriftings, or do you, like, I know a part of collecting is getting, flipping, and then being able to take that and get maybe something bigger or something that costs a little bit more. Like when you go out on these flea market finds or thrift stores, how much would you say you're turning over so that you can get something a little bit more maybe intentional, that rather than just coming up upon something?
Yeah, you know what? I never really intentionally went to flea markets so I can be like, oh, I'm going to go and flip this and sell it. It wasn't until last year where I just felt like, okay, I'm holding on to so much stuff that I feel like I just don't really, have the, kind of the use for, or, whatnot. But because of like, everyone who's been following my journey on Instagram, I always got DMs like, hey, are you going to sell this stuff? Like, we would love to buy it from you. So I'll do like a random pop-up probably like every 3 months, 4 months. I'll just go on Instagram and just like get rid of stuff. When there's a big purchase and I feel like, okay, I need to get that, got to make room for it also. So I'll go ahead and do that. But I'm not actively looking for something that I'm going to be like, oh, I'm going to, flip. If I go to the flea market,
I've noticed that the big banner has never come up for sale. So
that banner's not going anywhere. Which one are you talking? Are you talking about the Attack of the Clones banner, or?
Yeah, it's you have it hanging in your garage.
Oh yeah. That thing is probably going to be buried with me.
It's your burial banner. Shroud. It's your burial shroud.
It is. It's my favorite thing I own. It's probably, actually, I shouldn't say it's definitely up there in my top 5. That banner is incredible.
Well, let's look at some pictures.
Okay. Yeah. This is my garage, everyone.
Yeah. Now one thing immediately stands out to me, and that's something that you picked up maybe a couple months ago. It was kind of a big deal. You went and saved it. Talk about that soda machine there real quick.
Yeah. So the soda machine is kind of an interesting story, and it's funny how it kind of took off on Twitter. I felt like there's people like, really kind of like getting behind this.
Oh yeah, so, for sure.
A buddy of mine, my buddy Cliff, he sent me a Craigslist ad. or no, I'm sorry, it was a Facebook Market ad. Facebook Market, a local Facebook Market ad. And, obviously Facebook Market, you can go and, pick up stuff locally that people, get rid of. So it was an ad that said vending machines, getting rid of vending machines, soda machines. And it was like, okay. So I was like, why is he sending me this? So I'm scrolling through the pictures, and like on the sixth picture on the there's episode 1 pod racing Pepsi machine. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I emailed the guy and I said, yo, like, is this what so Star Wars soda machine? Is it still around? Like, you still got it? Or he's like, yeah, I owned a beverage company. So I have all this stuff in the storage and I'm just trying to get rid of it before, I throw it away. So I'm like, hey, I will come pick it up. Don't know how I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out, but whatever. So we set the date. It was like two weeks. I was gonna, he was gonna be available in 2 weeks to go pick it up. And the whole time I was nervous. I almost wanted to check in every day and be like, hey, we're still on, right? Because like you make a plan. I wanted to pick it up like as soon as possible, but he just wasn't available to, make the transaction, whatever. But I was nervous. I was like, what if someone else gets this before me? Because that's just how it is. Like sometimes it's like it's not set in stone.
Right.
I've been burned plenty of times where
you do this long enough, and
I just know like sometimes like it's just, or it gets he forgets that he even made the deal with me, and it's not even a deal until the money is in his hands and I have a machine. The deal is never finalized until then.
Yep.
So for 2 weeks, I was a nervous wreck. I was just like, I felt like I was too needy, too clingy, just very unhinged. Cause I was almost, I swear I was just like being like, hey, like here's my number. If, you can meet sooner. Like, just, so sure enough, it was probably, I had to drive about like an hour and 15 minutes for this machine. This thing is really heavy. It's not not light. It's extremely heavy. You can't just put it in a regular pickup truck. So we had to rent a box truck. And we decided not to do the box truck. We had to rent a trailer for it. Luckily the guy has the forklift, so they were able to forklift it onto the thing, which was all great. So it was quick. We got there, picked it up. They forklifted it on the thing. We drove back with it. Getting it down was not as easy as it was I don't have a forklift at home. So
no.
It was wild. It was wild. So if you ever want to test your marriage, if you ever want to do it, get a soda machine and then have you guys try and figure it out, trying to get it off the truck and moving it. It's pretty heavy, but we had to call family to come in and like help us move it. It was an all day ordeal, but it was fun. But yeah, it's an
event. Yeah,
it works. It's actually in great condition. I don't know, you can't really tell by the picture, but as far as like the front, like it's not. It's been sitting in a storage.
Yeah. So it lights up. It returns.
Yeah, it turns on, lights up
to you. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's cool that I probably should have taken a better picture, but there's like the older soda labels on there. So there's a Dr. Pepper Crush, but it's like from the 90s. So it's kind of it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
That's cool. Yeah. I also see Queen Amidala pool floaty.
Yeah.
Which I think they made 3 of. One's like a C-3PO, I want to say, maybe. And
then Maul. And there's a Darth Maul one. The C-3PO is meant for toddlers because I actually have that 3PO one, and like my cat will sit on it. It's too small. It's a lot smaller than that one. That one's kind of, I think the Darth Maul is probably like more for like grown-ups, but yeah. That Queen Amidala floaty is fun.
Well, and let me point
take her out by the pool during the summertime.
Is that Okay, now forgive me because my eyes are straining here a little
Yeah,
bit. But
and
is that like a Clone Wars or Revenge of the Sith era Yoda statue?
no, that is from the Pepsi. That's from Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the funny looking Yoda.
Okay.
I enjoy him. I know that might be a hot take, but I love Puppet Episode 1 Yoda. I just think he's a blast, and he just looks. If you go on Disney Plus and watch Phantom Menace, that puppy Yoda is not there. That's why I love him so much. He will not ever be forgotten in this house. Yeah, I found that. I think that was on Craigslist. Somebody was getting rid of it. So it was like during quarantine, I went and picked them up. But yeah, I think it was when Blockbuster had a raffle when Phantom Menace came out on DVD or VHS, and they were giving some of those Yodas away.
Those are pretty cool. I have seen those before. They're very. It's like a life-size Yoda right there.
Yeah, he's so cute and he's
forget
amazing.
Hot Toys. You got a life-size one right there.
And he's the puppet.
And then
he's the puppet Episode 1 Yoda, and he's I think he's great to look at.
youngish looking, perhaps. And then you've got a Pod Racer arcade game.
Yeah.
That is not something that you see every day in every Star Wars collection. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
I take it that all works too.
Yes. Well, I did it. Yeah, I had the manual. It turned on. Everything works. Sounded great. The left handle was not registering to the game. Okay. So I did have to. Well, I'll tell you this. I spent only $150 on this machine. So
That's good.
The guy was like, I need this out today. I'm moving out of the state. Someone come pick this up. Let it. So I'm like, okay. I thought it was a scam until I said I'm on my way. Didn't have a truck for it. But as I was heading to the guy's house, I was like making phone calls. Like, someone please. My stepdad was cool enough. He's like, I'll come meet you and help you lift this thing. That's awesome. So I did have to call an arcade cabinet, technician to come and fix that. And so
worth it.
Yeah, he had to do 2 visits, but honestly, it was still like with the 2 visits, the part that we had to order, it was still, I still feel like I got a steal. So, so the back of the racer, I actually have a backup of the pod. So yeah, so I have 2 of those, which is cool. I kind of wanted to turn into a chair or something. But yeah, everyone gets a kick out of that arcade when they come over.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a lot of things in there to look at. Let's see if I can get to the next photograph here. Okay.
So do you see Yoda? Do you see that?
See Yoda a little better there.
Yeah.
I immediately see the Obi-Wan Rumpf mug.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite things in my collection.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got shirts. We've got, let's see, other pieces of clothing there. It looks like maybe is it a pillowcase?
Yeah, that's the Empire. It's an Empire Strikes Back pillowcase and a Return of the Jedi pillowcase.
Okay, and it looks like you've been and got some droids from Galaxy's Edge on that.
Believe it or not, except for that Lola was a gift. I don't know if you guys hear, my dogs agree with me. They're howling. Yes. Every time there's an ambulance that just storms by, they get in on the fun. So, yeah. So those 2 BB units were actually both flea market finds.
Okay.
So I actually found those at the flea market. That Lola, that was a gift. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. On top of the Return of the Jedi puzzle, those are all collector plates. So like those nice collectible plates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah. So what I do, I don't know if you do this. I don't know. I like to catalog my collection. So I kind of like I'll just lay everything on the table and kind of like just be like, okay, this is what I got recently, and
And by catalog, you mean like take pictures of it, or like actually write it down, like in a spreadsheet?
Yeah, I have I have a spreadsheet to kind of like I should take pictures. That'd be cool. But I no, it's kind of like a spreadsheet. Just because you forget sometimes.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff.
You do get to a point. I mean, there's a point where like you're in your, if you have a collector room, you're like walking around, you're like, oh yeah,
I
completely
forget I had something. That. I'm like, oh, I forgot I had that. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
I'm gonna switch over to the next picture here.
Yes, this is my favorite corner, everyone.
Okay, and this is your movie corner, right?
Yeah,
your media corner.
Yeah, so I picked up that VCR TV combo thing.
Oh yeah.
I was walking my dog and someone had tossed it, and I said, "Oh, cool!" And it just kind of like ignited my love for collecting VHS tapes again. So yeah, I kind of have that little media table in the corner. It's kind of cozy. When I get in the garage and I'm organizing, I like to like pop in a Star Wars on VHS and kind of hang out there.
Definitely. Those are, so do you, would you say you have one of every kind now, or
VHSs?
Yeah.
I do. You know what? I should have sent you my most recent photo of like my VHS collection, but it's pretty cool. I'm starting to collect a lot of I recently got the original trilogy set from Japan.
Oh,
so that's so cool.
So once you get all of the ones, then you start getting all of the ones from around the world.
Yes, that's kind of how I'm going. I went to the flea market over the weekend and I picked up Spaceballs on VHS, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool too. So I recently just added Spaceballs, just and it's not just Star Wars. I actually also collect just VHS tapes in general. So I have this whole area of just non like Star Wars and Lucasfilm properties. It's all just VHS tapes that I had. It's just nostalgia. It's a nostalgia hit. So
Connor wants to know, do you rewind when you're done?
No. I do not. And every time I about to put on it, I be like, damn it, I just did not rewind this. So I do not. I have a bad habit.
Well,
and and then I'll be like, okay, this one's not. So let me look for another one. And it's like, they're all like, nah, they all need to rewind. I should get one of those like rewind, like they made those like specifically to rewind, and not just for people that worked at like Hollywood Video, or like you could actually buy one of those things. And I might have to get myself one of those.
That would be something to put on the Christmas list. So
for sure.
But that's a pretty cool corner or wall, it looks like, of your room there. Just movies, and you got the banner up there too. You just banners all over the place. And is behind the TV, is that a puzzle that has been framed, or is that a poster? I've seen both versions. I was just curious.
That is a poster, and that is a poster that my husband's aunt gave me. I think she was probably at an antique store, and she picked it up. So that was a nice little gift. And I was like, oh, I need to cover that ugly wall back there. So let's just plop it in.
Nice.
Okay. So
let's talk about it.
You asked earlier about do I just primarily collect prequel? It's just, you guys, the prequels just had a lot of like merchandise that,
Yeah.
It was a lot. So, a lot. And, they're not really worth much. They're worth much to me in my heart because these were like my movies that I grew up with. And I just have a lot of love with it for it, because when I was 9 These movies came out. I did not have adult money like I do now, so I didn't buy my own stuff. So this is how I choose to spend it, and I won't apologize for it. But this Jar Jar Binks hand soap thing was something I've always wanted, and
you have to get it. If you see it, you have to get it.
Yeah, he's cool. I love him.
And you know what,
Silver? My episode 1 shrine back there for sure.
I will say this: those are they 12-inch dolls on that top shelf?
Yes.
So those dolls, I've seen them, and they are awesome.
Yeah.
Now I've never owned one because that would be kind of a departure from what I collect. But I will tell you, and for those that are watching who have never seen them, those are incredible dolls. They are highly detailed. And are they all like Queen Amidala's outfits kind of things? Is that the set or series that
it is? It's a lot of her like iconic like outfits from the first movie. And she had a lot of costumes. Yeah, but you're right about the details because I remember I forgot where I was. I forgot. Anyways, I had walked in and it was like someone had this display out of the box. I've never really seen it out of the box. And I just thought like, wow, like that's an insane Amidala figure. I've never seen that. And I walked up and it's like, it was one of these dolls. And you're right. It's incredibly detailed. And I mean, I just don't have the heart to take them out of the box yet. And I probably wouldn't unless, if I start finding like duplicates, maybe, but I just can't take these ones out of the box.
Totally understand. Totally understand. Yeah. They're beautiful for sure. And then the cups in the back with the episode 1 toppers, like those are pretty classic.
Yeah, what's funny about I just have a connection with those because when Star Wars was coming out in 1999, my dad was just a kid again, and we got to experience Star Wars like coming back. And with his excitement, and I just remember like him wanting to collect everything, and so let's talk about cups were a big deal. So
you come from a Star Wars family, is what
I do. It's funny because I blame like my dad, my uncles, and even like my aunts and my mom. They all love Star Wars, but I like completely surpassed my obsession.
So they fully support. They don't think this is weird at all, right?
No, they do. They love it. They love it. They enjoy it quite a bit. And it's just a great thing to have because I feel like that's just like I have that connection with them. And just over Thanksgiving, we were just all talking about, they're like, hey, did you like that new Star Wars show? And it's just like fun because it's like something like we can like connect still over with. That's definitely. And my uncles, I just remember even being a kid, they didn't let me play with any of their Star Wars toys because they had it all like displayed and stuff. And even like during Christmas, like we would just watch like Return of the Jedi. Like it was just always playing during the holidays. Like that was like the comfort movie.
Well, and I can even remember as a kid, I'm a little bit older than you, but that like holidays are when like the big channels like ABC and NBC, CBS, they would play a Return of the Jedi because they knew everybody was home and people were gathered around TVs, and so it was not unusual to catch Return of the Jedi, or it'd be like promoted like Friday night, George Lucas, presents Return of the Jedi. And so you kind of marked it on your calendar a little bit. Like, I totally remember doing that as a kid. So,
well, cause they're great movies. It's like a nice, cozy, like every time I watch this movie, it's just like, it's just cozy and, the best. And yeah, I mean, even to this day, like, I feel like we always just play Star Wars just playing during the holidays. And even like when the recent movies came out during Christmas, it was tradition that we as a family would go Christmas morning. I would see obviously like opening night, opening weekend. I probably would have seen it like 4 times before we all went on Christmas morning. But Christmas morning, we would have our breakfast and then we would all just, my aunt, her house, there's a movie theater across the street. So we would just literally all just like 15 of us just go and watch Star Wars in theaters during the holidays. It's super fun.
All right, side question here, and we'll get back to this next photo. What Star Wars movie have you seen the most?
What Star Wars movie have I seen the most? Return of the Jedi.
And no, not even close.
Not even close.
Second place. Okay.
Not even close. I know it's this misleading because of all like, my prequel stuff, but Return of the Jedi is for me it's a pretty damn perfect movie for me. But honestly, I put it on like I fall asleep with it sometimes, most of the time. And or even when I'm cleaning, I'll just pop it in and just it's just my little background noise. But Return of the Jedi definitely.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think you probably have that in common with most of the people watching here. So
yeah, Return of the Jedi is.
I don't think that's a weird pick at all.
I love it. And you know what? When Return of the Jedi came to theaters, I saw it every day. I saw Return of the Jedi 7 times in theaters. The week it was out. It was just like I had to go watch it in theaters. Like for me, it's like I had to be in a theater and watch it. And
it's so good.
It's so good. I cried at the end every time. And my God, like it was the best. And I was just so thankful that we were able to have that experience of watching it again in theaters. So yeah.
Well, when that came back out not that long ago, I took my kids too, and we were just like, hey, we're just gonna do this. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna take me back to when Dad took me, and mm-hmm. When I was like 6.
Yeah,
and that was the first one I saw in a theater, and it does like it. I remember, running out afterwards and lightsabering with my dad, and just like
the best.
Like and it's just like now I get to do that with my kids.
That's awesome.
And we had a good time. We did the whole 9 yards, but it was so much fun, and I'm so glad they do that, and they should do stuff like that more often. Movie companies. Okay, this picture, Silver, looks like where you do your whenever you're streaming or on a show or doing your thing.
So normally I would be out there, but today it just didn't work out that way, just because we are fixing the front. There's like a little repair going on in the front of in the garage, but yes, this is kind of like where I hang out. This was kind of more of like a little bit of a wide shot of the garage, so you can kind of see kind of how spacious it is. You can kind of see that I have horrible lighting. I'm working on that lighting part. We're trying to figure out what we're gonna do with that, but that's kind of like the whole area actually of the garage. So
that's a great space.
It's pretty big. It's what I really want it to look like, honestly, and I'm glad it does. I love walking into antique stores. If you go to an antique mall, it's huge and almost random where everything's at. That's kind of like what I wanted. I want people to come in and just feel so overwhelmed that they don't even know what they're looking at. Every part of what I have displayed is I have a reasoning why I'm placing it like this. It's not going to make sense to anybody else. Almost nothing makes sense here.
Well, it doesn't have to.
I love it. It's good. It's great. It's mine.
Yeah, that's let me give it a little inspection here and see anything that's sticking out. Little is it a Lucasfilm turntable?
Yes, that was that's a Lucasfilm turntable. I think it was a company gift.
That's pretty cool.
And I live in San Francisco, so I got really lucky. I think somebody was just like, hey, this is my job, but I don't really care.
So you'd naturally think that being in that area so close to, a place like Skywalker Ranch, where a lot of Star Wars stuff happens, you'd think that, those kind of things might trickle out and end up in a garage sale or, things like that. So that's you do live in a pretty unique place for potential items like that to exist. So
I do. I found a lot of like crew, like t-shirts, and yeah, things that, again, it's their jobs, and, I may fan and freak out over it, but, it's just, they probably don't have use for it, and but I've definitely found like a lot of like, definitely like just things from like Skywalker Ranch, Lucasfilm, things like that.
Well, before we get to where you've been spending some time lately, I've got a couple more collector questions for you. Have you ever considered, or let me ask this: have you ever had your own like booth at a swap meet or a parking lot kind of situation, or are you always visiting? Are you ever selling at these things, or are you
Never? Not really. Just because I feel like I don't have. I'm not willing to like take a big haul and like get rid of stuff. Again, if I do, it's a little of a time. I don't think it would be kind of worth for me to have like a big booth and do that. There is an event that happens. It's like these pop-ups that happen, these night markets in San Jose, which is really cool. It's like a lot of like vintage teas, and like people actually have booths and stuff, and it's a really fun event. Like there's like a beer garden at night, there's food trucks, and then like there's always like a DJ, live band, and it's all these like vendors, like they're selling, a lot of like retro stuff, like a lot of like things from like 80, 90 toys, or like vintage t-shirts, which I'm a huge collector of. And I like to I go to those events a lot, but they always ask me like, Star Wars thrifting, you should have your own booth here. It's like, I just don't have a lot of stuff to make it into a booth. Cause again, I'm not actively going out, but picking up inventory to sell. Yeah. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe next year I'll be like, all right, I need a big chunk of this garage.
Well,
we got to get rid of it.
One thing Josh and I have talked about, we've talked about doing like the Rose City Comic-Con in Portland, Oregon. Like just seeing about getting a table, and between the two of us, we've bought collections and sold collections, and we have accumulated more than what we want to have, and so we've talked about doing that. We've never pulled the trigger yet, but
that'd be cool.
It would be intriguing. Yeah, it would be kind of fun to do, just for the experience, if nothing else. Okay, so we've talked your collection. Let's talk about somebody else's collection that you get to spend a little time with. For those of you that don't follow Silver, she will sometimes, I don't know how often, we haven't pre-talked about this, but spend some time at Rancho Obi-Wan, which again, if you are following this podcast, you probably know what Rancho Obi-Wan is, but Steve Sansweet has the Guinness Book of World Records for the largest Star Wars collection. And he's basically turned into a museum, right? It's a Star Wars museum. Would that be a great way to describe it?
It's a museum, yes.
Yeah. And so would you tell me and people watching, what are you doing there? How did you get there? Like,
Steve and I are best friends. Honestly, so I'm a volunteer at Rancho Obi-Wan. And what volunteers do, like you'll shadow a tour. So it's a docent led tour. And then there's usually a second person, because you got to help, herd the crowd around, help answer questions and things like that. Last year for my birthday, I finally had the opportunity to visit Rancho Obi-Wan. I live in Northern California, not that far away from me. Can't believe it took me a while to finally get to it. It just happened to land on my birthday. So we just thought, this is probably the best birthday I'm ever going to spend. So I'm going to go to Rancho Obi-Wan. I don't know how this, I don't know if Rancho Obi-Wan was following me on Twitter already, but they had been following along on my journey and stuff. And I was already like just being a little fangirl, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to Rancho Obi-Wan in a couple weeks. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to Rancho Obi-Wan in 1 week. And I'm already like just excited and like, can't contain myself. And then when I got there and checked in, they were like, Star Wars, they saw my name and they were like, Star Wars thrifting, right? And then I was like, oh, yes. And Steve was there and he was like, did you bring your thrift store with you? And I was just like baffled. I was like, wait, how like on earth does Steve Sansweet like know about my Instagram? Like, so it was really cool. It was such like, I almost passed out because I just couldn't even believe it. But it was
That's
really
pretty cool.
It was really freaking cool. And honestly, the best birthday gift. I felt like this is all I needed. So I was really happy. It was a great tour. Obviously, I had the best time of my life. Completely overwhelmed. I was just happy for the 3-4 hours I was there. Best birthday gift. I, can't even imagine. So I had
that means.
Oh, go ahead. No,
well, I was gonna say.
Oh, sorry.
You
Stop interrupting me. No, you go. This is your show. I want you to go.
Well, I was gonna say, going to a place like that, especially the first time, would imagine would be overwhelming because there's just so much to look at.
Oh, it is.
And you could probably take the tour 4 or 5 times and see new things each time.
Yes.
But you have gotten to spend time not just as a fan, as somebody who's participating in the tour, but now you're kind of help leading them a little bit, maybe not full dose yet, but you've gotten to spend time in there so that you've been able to take it all in, and like not a lot of people are able to, because it's oftentimes just like, oh, we're in town, we're going to go hit this, and then we're off to the next thing, or that, at least that's how I would visit it. I haven't visited it yet either, but I'm going to at some point. But it'll be a one-time thing for me because it's it's far enough away that I can't be a regular there. I don't even know where to start with these questions because I have a million of them. But like, okay, I'm gonna put a picture up. Here, and we're gonna. This was on the.
Oh, that's me, everyone. This was on my birthday last year.
This was on the birthday trip.
This is my birthday trip.
Okay,
this is my birthday trip.
Here's what I do know, and I'm sorry it's covering you up on this, but maybe if I do this. Nope, then it totally covers you up.
That's okay. I can be covered for a bit.
Anyway. So yes, there you are. Here's what I know about this picture, that it's got all of the carded figures in that circular, in that cylinder in the middle. And on the floor of that, there are 575 stormtroopers, the 3 3/4 inch figure stormtroopers underneath that. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yes. I'll be leaving the tour in no time.
So
is this right when you walk in?
Yes, this is kind of like your view when you walk in, but there's a few more stops. There's a couple stops before you get to this point.
Okay.
We don't want to give too much. We don't want to spoil too much, but there's a few stops before, and they're pretty cool. But this is kind of like the one that I'm sure you probably will see online and all that stuff. But yeah, this is the big whammy.
Yeah, that is so cool.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And like you said, honestly, I've been there. There's always something new every time I get there. It's pretty wild.
So what do you have a favorite thing that when you walk by it, you just kind of genuflect in front of it, and like there's this, is there something in there that you're just in awe of every time you go by it?
Yeah, you know what? there's a lot, but I always love. There's this vending machine that's like frozen in time during Return of the Jedi era. So
Yeah.
it's a vending machine. You can put a quarter in and either get a Return of the Jedi eraser, stickers, things like that. But
Cool.
it's like frozen in time. My favorite, I'm sure you've seen this online, is also the Return of the Jedi era bedroom. So if you were a kid during Return of the Jedi, this is kind of how your bedroom would look like. They kind of have that area. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it is
Oh yeah,
so well. There's
they just
it's yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of just 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 I mean things from all over the world too. I mean it's crazy. It's wild. Yeah, so this is actually an incredible this banner is really
yes.
awesome. This is like the infamous banner that was before Star Wars was out. It was they had a Comic-Con booth before the movie came out, and this is, and Steve has his hands on it. And they always say, like, if Steve Sansweet is gonna say one thing, it's always gonna be this banner.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen him talk about it before, and I've heard the story about the banner. It's like from 1976, right?
Yes,
From San Diego
76. It
Comic
was,
Con.
yeah, it was before the movie came out. It was they had their if you can't see it, but there's a picture behind me where my hand is. There's a photo, a frame. I think that's the picture of the actual booth.
Yeah, and by booth you mean like a table.
Yeah.
It's not very big. It was before everybody knew it was awesome, kind of thing. And correct me if I'm wrong. That's hand painted. Is
Yes,
that a painted sign? Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
painted sign. It's
That's a one of one.
Yeah, it's great.
That is pretty awesome. I did have to put that picture up there. So, and not only do you get to hang out with Steve when he's there, and I've
Mhm.
met Steve once, and we've interacted a little bit online. Not that he would know me, but he seems like a really nice guy. Like
Steve,
he gives
yeah.
that vibe off.
Steve is honestly like I just so generous with his time. I've learned a lot from Steve. I'm always picking his brain, especially as a collector. Always asking like questions on, hey, how can I organize this better? Or, I have a question about something. He has just full of knowledge, incredible stories and experiences from his time, um, being part of Lucasfilm and just everything. But honestly, walking in this museum, it's just like his story. It's crazy. He just has, I mean, just so much knowledge, and just like being around him, it's infectious. Like he's so passionate, and it's so cool. I mean, you get that anytime you talk with a fellow like Star Wars fan, you're always going to feel like it's just like that kindred, you just already have like that kindred spirit. But he loves
Yeah.
Star Wars. He loves Star Wars. It's cool.
So yeah,
It's
this
really
kindred
cool.
spirit.
It's really
Yeah,
cool. He's
this
really cool.
kindred
I love
spirit
him.
takes it to another level.
Yeah,
He has a whole
he's so, and just when he interacts with like the guest, and he loves when people ask him questions. He just has like the coolest stories, and it's just
Well,
really fun. And I can't
in
believe I get to
absence
hang out with him.
of Steve, would you mind if some of our followers here asked some questions
Yes.
to you? Maybe you can fill in some gaps here for us. Is there a lot of Star Wars stuff that comes into Rancho Obi-Wan, like to add to it, or like how? Because there's always more Star Wars stuff coming out. Like, how do you keep a museum? Do they update it? I'm sure. I think I know this, that they do kind of swap out parts at times.
Yeah, there's like any collection, there's always a rotation. Yeah,
But is there new stuff coming in, or
yeah,
is there new stuff coming in
there
still?
is. Yeah, there is. That brand Regal Robot, when I was there, they had put all like the new maquettes. I
like Regal Robot. That's a cool brand.
Mm-hmm.
did Steve's collection kind of come along over time, or did all that kind of happen
over
all of
time?
a
It's all,
sudden?
yeah,
Okay.
it's his collection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over time, for
So
sure.
he started when Star Wars came out, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Or did he get to it a little later?
It's kind of pretty much when it like came out. Again, like there's like a part of the tour, there's a really like his story with it. I don't really want to like share too
No,
much. It's more like it's kind of like a cool story to experience when you're there.
Yeah.
But yeah, but again, he's been a fan since the beginning.
And I would imagine there's like a little gift shop there. You can buy Rancho Obi-Wan stuff.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome. How much is there that we don't see? Like, is there just like a Indiana Jones type warehouse with boxes upon boxes that's in the back or on a, like how much is there that
I would, like any collection, I would imagine that it's just there's more. Yeah.
Just more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I kind of fantasize about what it would be like to walk into the back room.
Oh.
Okay, this is all awesome stuff that's being displayed. What's not being displayed?
Yeah.
That's probably there's wild stuff in there too, I imagine.
Yeah.
Let's see. If we were going to organize a visit, can you do that online? Do you have to call? How does that work?
On their website, you can schedule a visit. They book in advance. Like it's
way
pretty,
out.
It goes pretty way out. Yeah. But you go to their website. All the information is for you. You can, pick your dates. It's like on weekends. I believe they're doing 2 tours now on Saturday. Yeah. So it's like in the morning around like 9-10 o'clock.
Okay. Skywalker Academy asks, did Mr. Sansweet start out as an archivist for Lucasfilm?
I believe that was part of it. My goodness, I'm not sure, but I think so.
Well,
yeah,
he's certainly a resource.
Yeah, I want to say yes.
All right. What's the smallest, coolest artifact you've encountered?
Let's see. Oh my gosh, the coolest, smallest?
Yeah, like fits in your pocket, we'll say.
Oh man.
I think Pete might be getting ideas like what he could lift while he's there.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. There's a lot.
I'm sure.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm trying to think. I don't know about the smallest. I'm having a hard time. There's a lot of cool, like, I don't know about the smallest. I don't know. There's a lot of cool bootlegs that I think that are really cool.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some cool bootlegs for sure.
So he gets into that stuff too. It's not just the officially licensed merchandise things.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, when you've got like I said, when you've got all the stuff, then you got to keep going into the weird stuff,
that's the
non-licensed.
best. I mean, he doesn't have it's the largest Star Wars collection. It's pretty big, everyone. It's wild. It's
pretty big. That's quite the understatement.
It's insane.
So how has maybe, I don't know what happened first, Rancho Obi-Wan or Skywalker Ranch or whatever, but has working or volunteering at Rancho Obi-Wan opened some doors for you as far as like connecting with Star Wars people? I just see that you're meeting people all the time, and I'm very jealous.
Oh, honestly, I think Rancho Obi-Wan's probably like my latest cool thing that I've got to do, but I don't know. I think maybe because I'm a local fan nearby, or I just kind of have, I don't know. It's weird. People ask me, how does this happen? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just, I'm online, and then like, I kind of, I get a follow from some cool people, and they're just like, hey, what's up? So
that
I
is
don't
pretty
know.
awesome.
I don't know. I just feel like maybe just kind of like what I put out is kind of, I don't know. It's so weird. Like I know because people ask me, I'm like, I just genuinely don't know. I don't, they catch wind and they're like, I do not know. I can't even answer that. But yeah, it's been pretty cool experience. But this was at the Mandalorian season 3 premiere they had at Lucasfilm. They had like a fan screening.
That's awesome.
Which is right. It was pretty rad. So really cool. So that was for season 3.
Yeah, that would be something that all of us here watching would definitely like jump on.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We saw the first, was it the first 2 or just the first episode? The first episode of season 3. No, first 2 episodes.
Do they have a theater there?
There was a theater. Yeah, it was a pretty cool theater. So we were able to catch it there.
That's cool.
It was
tell me how this picture happened.
Oh, Mark Hamill and I are best friends, obviously, as you can see how happy he looks and how nervous and happy I look too. No, we had Fan Expo here in San Francisco last weekend. Or was it last weekend? 2 weekends ago? It was during the Thanksgiving break. So it was after Thanksgiving, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days, they had Fan Expo in San Francisco. So it was a convention. I did not go the 3 days, and I wasn't actually really planning on going until they announced that Mark Hamill was going to be there for autographs and photos. And I said, I'm definitely going to go. So I went Sunday for meet and greet with Mark Hamill, a little photo op. And this is what came about. But I mean, don't we just look like we're friends?
Yeah, you guys, this could be a Christmas card.
No, that's funny that you say that, because my family and friends might be getting something like this in the mail.
Spoiler, let's not tell them. But, that's awesome. Anytime you can meet a childhood hero, that's
honestly
so cool.
I cried afterwards. Like I remember leaving, and I looked at my husband, and I was like, I've had my photo ops. But there is something about Luke Skywalker, man. There is. And let me tell you, like, it's, photo ops. It's like this thing. You go, take your picture, and you're, off to the next person, right? It's this. But Mark Hamill, talk about someone who's extremely generous with his time, who loves the fans. He loves his fans. It's sweet. There was a family in front of me. It was a mom and a dad and 2 boys. And when people they're trying to rush people along and stuff like that, he was like interacting with the kids. He was, almost like rearranging the photo so it could be, oh, you should go here, and talking to it was really cool. I don't know. They say don't meet your heroes, but I think that's BS. I think Mark Hamill is incredible. He is just he was just happy to be there. He was just so happy to be there, and I still can't believe this. This is
that's I remember when Josh and I got on Twitter this was, I think, 6 years ago. Our goal was to get a like, a comment, or a retweet from Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
that was our goal.
Yeah,
and I'm happy to report that it did happen.
Nice
to both of us.
I love Mark Hamill on social media.
And the fact that, I'm sure he gets tagged in a crap load of stuff, and we're no different, but, being fans too. And just like he interacts, he welcomely is welcoming to everybody. And he seems, like you said, he seems happy to be there. He seems happy to do it. And And what a better ambassador you could have for a brand, than somebody like that.
Yeah. Honestly, this was an opportunity I was not going to miss. The only thing I bummed that I missed was that he had a panel on Friday, and I remember seeing him at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. He had a panel, and I think it was his tribute to Carrie Fisher, and he's just so much fun to hear him talk and tell his stories and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm bummed that I missed that. But again, I'm still riding on this high. It was probably the best. What little time I had with him, it was great. Even also, like, we were waiting in line for the photo ops. He took a break, and like security had to walk him like towards the restroom, and he just walked past all of us. And I think I have a video. I'm like, I forget, what did he say? I said, "We love you, Mark." And then he looked at me. He's like, "Hey," and like that. I'm like, oh my gosh. But
you got 2 interactions.
I know. Just to point out, I wore a sweater because I really love that sweater that I'm wearing. It's a fan club, the first 10 years of, it's like one of my favorite sweaters that I own. So I planned out like wearing that cool like Star Wars fan club sweater for the picture, and Mark Hamill went for the hug. So,
I mean, what do you do?
Listen, you just go for the Mark Hamill wants to give you a hug, you give him a hug right back. So anyways, I'm still like geeking out about it. It's like,
well,
my gosh.
Let's go to this picture here from somebody that is well known by all Star Wars people to somebody who's lesser known but also very important to Star Wars.
Oh, that's me and Marsha Lucas, everyone.
Marsha Lucas.
Yeah, that was fun.
And Marsha was an editor, right?
Yes, for the she was one of the editors for Star Wars. But AV Film Fest is here in like Sonoma County. They were having a conversation with Marsha Lucas. So I was like, wow, that is nearby. I'm gonna go. So it was like $40 to go sit in on a conversation with Marsha Lucas. And Marsha Lucas is George Lucas's ex-wife. She was also one of the editors in Star Wars. She also edited did American Graffiti. And anyways, just even listening to her story as a woman in Hollywood, and just even like back in the day, and even like just like she had like crazy stories of like editing movies and like Coppola's like like their garage, like all these greats just like making it out like just young filmmakers. And she was part of the gang, and it was just really cool. And just hearing
what was your big takeaway from that, listening to that conversation?
Listening to her conversation, honestly, it was just more, my biggest takeaway was just, I just didn't realize like she's called the heart of Star Wars, because without like she, just her input on the first Star Wars, like, she was the whole Death Star scene, the trench run, like she was editing like to build tension, and or just a lot of like editing like character moments that just like she says that she told George Lucas, you got to kill Obi-Wan Kenobi off. There needs to be something of high stakes. There needs to be something. So she says that it's her fault that Obi-Wan Kenobi's dead, or is the one with the Force. But honestly, my biggest takeaway was just like her like I don't know, she's just like being so passionate. She loves film, she loves movies, and the fact that she was even like part of editing, it was a huge deal. But honestly, just hearing her like passion for it, even years later, she stopped. She had a short career because she decided to just focus on raising kids and being a mom and just kind of doing her own thing. But I don't know, it was just great listening to her talk and just having like small, like her stories, was just really, really cool. And again, like being a young woman like in the 70s wanting in Hollywood. Like it's crazy. So it was pretty special. And
That's
she
cool.
rarely goes out and speaks and talks and stuff. And so it was a big treat for
That's
sure.
cool. And then maybe, and I don't know, this is the nerd in me. Like if all of this wasn't nerdy enough, the picture that honestly got me the most excited, like I can't believe you got to meet this person. I would have been such an annoying fanboy if it were me in this situation.
Yeah, that's me and Ben Burt, everyone.
Ben freaking Burt.
Yeah.
Mr. Sounds of Star Wars.
Yeah. That's
And
me and Ben Burt, everyone.
Where did this happen? How did this happen?
This happened at the Marsha Lucas event. And the reason why Ben Burt was there, because they were showing us clips of before Marsha and after Marsha. So when Marsha decided to go and edit something, you saw we saw some pretty rare things I don't think no one's ever going to see. Cool. That's why Ben Burt was there, because they weren't going to give it to them. He went and delivered the footage. So that's
so this is so this was out of, some of it was out of Ben's collection. Maybe.
Well, yeah, it's part of it's the companies, so he had to go probably practically with a handcuff briefcase. No, it was really cool. It was a treat. So I walked in not knowing, I walked in and we were outside waiting in line to get in the very small theater, and it's at a community college. So it was it was a theater, and we were getting, and I just remember freaking Ben Burt just walked out of the building. I think he was going to get something from his car, and I was like, what the? And I looked around. I'm like, does anybody else see this?
Anyone else know this?
And it's crazy because there were Star Wars fans there, but I think a lot of it was for a film fest. I think a lot of people who were into especially the students at the campus, they went for the event and stuff. And I'm just if this man were to walk at Star Wars Celebration, there'd be a freaking mob, right? But I was just
because he's not a guy that you see out doing things like this either, right? Yeah. He's not a guy that shows up to celebrations necessarily.
So it was anymore. It was pretty cool. It was pretty wild. Afterwards, I went and I went to go talk to him afterwards, because he was just kind of packing up the stuff. And there's a few people who went talked to him. A lot of them had sound technical questions. I'm just not way over my. I just told him, I said, hi, I'm a big fan. I love all the Star Wars sounds, so thank you for that. I just think you're really great, and thank you so much. I mean, what else could you say? And he's just really, I know, I was the only one that didn't have a sound technical question to ask him. I was just people were asking him, I mean, I get it. I mean, you have a legend here, go, ask away. But I was just there to just tell him how amazing he is, and thank you so much. And I told him I love all I love watching Star Wars documentaries, behind the scenes, and I love all his every time he's behind the scenes explaining something. But I just fangirled. I mean, that's what I did. I mean, what else do? You just say thank you for your service. I am a huge fan. Thank you so much for everything you've contributed, because it's just the best. So
that's amazing. I'm so jealous.
It was crazy. Well, a crazy day for sure.
Maybe the retirement plan is to move down to San Francisco, San Jose.
Just run in. Yeah, again, that was a surprise with Ben Burt. Marsha Lucas, I was anticipating and excited for, but that was just that was a nice surprise.
Yeah, and those are two very, very important people.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's wild.
And Mark Hamill. And I know you've got pictures with Ewan McGregor and
it's just
Like,
that's great too. But man, Mark Hamill, it's freaking Luke Skywalker.
yeah.
I mean, I mean, I don't know. It's Mark Hamill.
Well, Silver, you're living the Star Wars dream right now, getting in the last few months, being able to see who you've seen and interact with those people, and getting to take time and volunteer at Rancho Obi-Wan and hang out with Steve Sansweet. Like, those are, like, any one of those things could be a bucket list thing for a Star Wars fan. And you're getting to do all of that stuff, or you've gotten to do all that stuff in not that long of a time. Like, you're just stacking them right up. And on top of getting an episode 1 Pepsi soda machine.
Yeah, that's wild.
In collecting and going through all that, you know, as we get to see and follow along with you as you make your posts. But man, I'm happy for you. Like, that seems like it's been a pretty fun last few months, and it's gonna keep going. Like, you're just, I'm sure that being at Rancho Obi-Wan's gonna open a door or two for you.
Oh man.
I have a good feeling about that, because Steve knows everybody. You know,
We'll see.
he's got to be one of those guys that just knows everybody, and now you can throw around like, oh yeah, Steve's my best friend, and we all know you're telling the truth, you know.
If the force wills it. Yeah, honestly, it's so crazy. I've been really fortunate for the experiences that I've gotten to do. Honestly, I'm just so happy that I can just like just nerd out and live this cool, like, get to experience cool things. And I just, again, like, I started this Instagram because I was just, you know, it was quarantine and wanted to like connect with Star Wars fans, and just being able to connect, not just like obviously like meeting cool people too, but also like just like meeting friends online is like such a plus. Like, you know, getting to know you has been so cool. Like, just, it's just
That was
really
fun. That was fun meeting you and your husband at Galaxy's Edge. That was great.
Dude, I was exhausted that night. Can we talk about how Galaxies? Can we talk about going to Star Wars Celebration and then them doing the Star Wars night at the freaking Disneyland? How exhausting that was! Like, I was out. I'm sorry for whatever. I was just
No,
I was exhausted.
It was.
I was exhausted. I was waiting in line for those Ahsoka sabers, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, stuff.
Did you get them?
Oh, the dogs are barking. My friend got it. So, but we were just waiting in line. Yeah, I didn't get the Ahsoka sabers, but I regretted not getting it afterwards. Well, I think I got Cal Kestis. I was like, well, I'll get a lightsaber since I'm here. So I got the Cal Kestis lightsaber. Yeah. Just because, you know, that's cool. You have to walk out a lightsaber.
Well, I remember meeting you and your husband, and I think you had a couple other friends that were there with you, and we hung out for a little bit. It wasn't that long, because then we were off and doing our, you know. It's
wild. It's a crazy day having Star Wars night at Galaxy's Edge, and I know like a lot of like I frequented Disneyland. Like, I go a few times. It's a year. It's not too far for me, but I know there's a lot of people who've like traveled, and like it's like crazy, and like having that whole Star Wars night for all of us was just really cool. But it's a lot. It's crazy, but it's so much fun. Yeah. It's so cool that you just run into everybody like at a ride, and it's wild.
Yeah. That was a great. That was like the cherry on top of a awesome celebration. That was the night that I met one of my best friends, Dave Filoni. So,
Dave Filoni, that's another one, man.
Fun, yeah. Oh, well, man, maybe I'll have Dave get in touch with Mark, and maybe we can all hang out.
We can all have like a friend, like a bestie date. Yeah. You bring your best friend, I'll bring my. You bring your best friend. Yeah, you bring your best friend Dave. I'll bring my best friend Mark, and then we can just like have a good time.
Yeah, we can hang out with Steve. We bring Steve along too.
Steve can come too.
Steve can come too.
And then we can go over to like, you know, Ben's house. You know.
Yeah, or go.
all these first name bases with everybody that we are like friends out. Go to Ben's house.
That's so funny. Yeah, we need shirts. Like, because I have told the meeting Dave Filoni story a few times, and like getting a shirt says Dave's friend.
Yeah, Dave's friend.
Yeah,
That's cool.
So,
Mark's
and then
friend.
you could do the same.
I'll do Mark's friend.
Yeah.
Mark's friend.
Mark's friend, Ben's friend,
Yeah.
Marshall's friend,
Marshall's
Steve's
friend.
But well, hey, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been an hour and 20 minutes now, but I could listen to your stories all night. But I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and I'm actually kind of glad that it got like we weren't able to do it, or I haven't been able to do it, because then you've gotten to experience a lot more cool things, and we've gotten to talk about them tonight. But down below on the ticker, you can see her Instagram and Twitter /X handles are. She is worth the follow. And because most of the people on here are collectors, there was one question left that I wanted to ask you before we go. And it's kind of a combo between two of our followers here, Matt and G-Force. They kind of both had the same question, but have you ever been tempted, or do you collect any other line outside of Star Wars?
Honestly,
Indiana Jones?
I have some indie stuff. Not as much, but honestly, I just feel like my attention is just Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
Not other. I mean, I collect VHS tapes. That's not like a real. It's not like a line or anything. But no, I just seek out just the Star Wars stuff.
Okay.
That's where my attention and focus is. I don't have that desire to go and like. I like the MCU. I like, some DC stuff, but I don't go and like I need to go and start collecting all their stuff. There's just something about the Star Wars stuff that just grabs my attention more. But who knows? That may change. Actually, it'll never change. I'm gonna keep collecting stuff.
Yeah. If it's not one thing, it's another. So
we
are kind of creatures of habit in that regard.
Yeah, so. I don't know. I'm trying to go after. I'm trying to be like Steve one day.
Well,
maybe I'll have.
Steve
maybe
now. Maybe you'll get in the
maybe
will.
I'll have my own. Maybe I'll have my own Obi-Wan. Get in the will.
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Silver. I very much appreciate it. Are you doing any podcasts or anything that you want to plug on here, or you can help get
out? I took a hiatus on my own podcast during the strike and, just a little mental health break. But if you guys follow my podcast, Into the Garbage Chute, we're going to be kicking that up again soon. It's with me, my gal pal, Riley. It's just us just talking about Star Wars. So check it out. It's called Into the Garbage Chute.
Into the Garbage Chute.
Into the Garbage Chute. Yes. We'll be releasing some episodes now, coming soon. So we're ready to get back at it. So yeah, check me out there. But I mean, I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and my DMs are always open. If you guys want to share something, like, hey, like you got something in your collection, I love like having those conversations. Or if you just want to like talk about like the latest Star Wars show, like, let's chat it up. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, again, thanks, Silver. Appreciate you. Appreciate what you do for the collector community. You have a fun story to tell, and I sure enjoyed following along with you. Thanks to those who were watching in the chat live.
Thank you, chat.
And thanks for those that are catching us on the rewind. Silver, it's been great. We'll have to do this again. Maybe another Bounty Hunters episode. And
I'm down.
Champion.
I'm down. You know what? The reason I got that darn Watto pillow is because the C-3PO tape dispenser, that provocative 3PO just laying down like that.
Yeah.
I think costs way too much money. So I had to settle. But I go on eBay quite frequently to like look at it. So that's what I do. That's the That's
All right. Well, until next time, Silver, thank you so much. And I know Silver does, and you should too, is go play with your toys.
yeah.